Here we see Juju in his natural setting. At this very moment, he's turning the last page of his 100th self-help book. Look at him now, closing the book with a sigh of relief, his face glowing with enlightenment. But wait, there's a pause. He looks up, a crease of doubt shadowing his brow, and there it is. A voice in the back of his mind speaks up as he stares directly into our lens. I'm exactly where I was 1 year ago. According to the Oxford Dictionary, self-help is the act of relying on your own efforts and abilities in order to solve your problems, rather than depending on other people for help. If you clicked on this video, then it's most likely that you are familiar with self-help and are trying to improve your life in one way or the other, just as I am. But I feel like a lot of people have a few misconceptions when it comes to reading non-fiction and self-help books. So this is what I want to talk about today. So to get everyone on the same page here, the way I see it is that self-help is a spectrum from very active on the one side, where you act a lot and don't read a lot, to very passive on the other side, where you only read and never act on anything that you read. And ideally, of course, we want to be somewhere in the middle ground here. And there are good arguments for leaning more to the one side or to the other side. And I personally think that it's better to lean a little bit more to the action side than to only read. But what I fear is that too many people are focusing on the passive side of things and staying in that kind of spectrum for too long without acting. So let's talk about the state of books. So everybody's telling you to read this book and that other weird book. Everybody's talking about reading 100 books in a year and is obsessed about this number 100 for some reason. I don't get it. And that often leads the person that just wants to have some advice to fall back to short form apps that summarize a lot of books. But the problem with these apps is that we just begin to see books as a new form of short form entertainment. But one of the main reasons to get into reading books is to get away from short form entertainment and to actually just sit there for multiple hours, depending on how fast you read, and look into the head of another person that is normally smarter than you. So all of this leads to this mindset of who reads more or who can do that thing more. And then the act of reading books and summaries becomes something that you need to do as quickly as possible just to keep up with the modern world. And then you're already focusing on the next book while you're not even halfway through the book that you're currently reading. Your thoughts are somewhere else because you heard that thing in a podcast advertising this one book that is supposed to be the holy grail of books, and then you're ditching that one book that you wanted to read in the first place just to jump right next to the other book. And then we're so caught up in this cycle of reading and skimming through all of these books and then repeating and repeating that we sometimes don't even take notes on the things that we like, or even if we do that, we don't act upon the things that we think that are interesting. And that's something that I really think goes completely into the wrong direction. Because why I at least started reading self-help books in the first place is to make my life better and not to read more self-help books. Because what good is reading 300 books if you don't implement anything into your life? Of course, some of these things are mindset shifts that come or can come passively, but for some things, you really have to actively try to implement it in your life. And as I said earlier, be on the action side of the self-help spectrum. So as an actionable step here, I would definitely advise you to not only take notes the next time you read a book on self-help, but actually, when you're done with it, think about at least one or two things that you actually want to implement in your life, that you learn from this experience of reading and going through the book, and where you could actually see this thing improve your life in a way. Okay, next point. Self-help is not a competition. I mean, it kind of is, but not in the way that most people on YouTube also make it seem. Because you're not competing against anybody else, you're just competing against yourself 1 year, 1 month, or 1 day ago. You should look and focus on yourself and on your self-development. That's why it's called that. But please don't measure your self-development journey with the amount of books that you've read. If you really need a sort of number, maybe try to measure the points from books that you actually implemented in your life. That could be an interesting thing maybe. But really try to think of the mindset and behavior shifts that come with reading these books, and don't see the books just as something that you want to get through. I know that the sentence "I've read 100 self-help books last year" sounds really cool, but I'd rather read only 10 and actually implement like 5% of these books into my own life, and then there's some real change that I can grasp and I can track each thing back to the books, because I really took my time with the books and didn't just rush through them. Because seriously, if you've read like at least 30 or 40 self-help books, there's not that much new going on if you read another self-help book. It's very, very likely that you already know the things that you need and want to know. Of course, you should sharpen your saw every once in a while and get new ideas, definitely. But at some point, it's just time to act and stop relying on the thoughts of other people so much. Okay, the last thing that I'd like to get off my chest here, because I really lived through that part and sometimes still do, is that you should not use self-help books as a form of procrastination. I know it's very tempting and easy to say, yeah, I just need to read this one book and then I'm gonna start whatever you want to start, and then my life will be good. That mindset will never bring you anywhere. At the beginning of your self-help journey, of course, you need some input. When you get into it, everything is very exciting and all of that, but just don't be the person that gets into self-development, talks about it all day long, reads all the books, watches all the Hamza videos, and after 1 year they're still at the same spot they were before, because they didn't take any action whatsoever. And funnily enough, those are the people saying that self-help is stupid and all these books and videos don't work, saying that you're wasting your time. Because it's called self-help. So you need to act. No book in the world will take the work from you. So if you felt like I was talking to you, then read less books and actually start improving your life. Chances are that you know damn well what you need to do next. Bye.